This week, Bruce Willis meets himself as an 8-year-old in Disney's The Kid. Teenager Natasha Lyonne tries to find her true self in But I'm a Cheerleader. And Keenan Ivory Wayans sends up Scream and The Matrix in Scary Movie.
Get them on the phone right now, and you tell them that... Janet, I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. There's supposed to be a 24-hour security service, okay? I want the sensitivity set on 10.
Bruce Willis is an image consultant who needs a lot of consulting on his own image at the beginning of Disney's The Kid, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Richard Roeper, columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times.
Our first movie is named Disney's The Kid, maybe to tell it apart from Charlie Chaplin's The Kid, but it could also be called Ebenezer Willis and the Ghost of Childhood Past. The movie stars Bruce Willis as a rude, cynical, impatient, arrogant Los Angeles image consultant who is mean even to his own father. Then he thinks he's hallucinating because he starts seeing a little boy, and not any little boy. This is himself, right before his own 8th birthday.
Shouldn't there be a lady here somewhere?
What do you mean, a lady living here? No, I live alone.
I thought you said you were 40.
I said I was almost 40. So?
So, I'm 40, I'm not married, I don't fly jets, and I don't have a dog? I grow to be a loser.
If this guy were going to marry anyone, it might be his colleague Amy, played by Emily Mortimer.
Stop picking! Look at that haircut. Look like Herman's Hermits. I speak like I got a mouthful of spit.
Of course you do.
Doesn't the fact that I'm a pathetic dweeb make you despise me?
No. Why? Do you despise you?
When I look at him, all I see are awful memories. Memories I've been spending most of my life trying to forget.
Like Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense, Spencer Breslin here develops a convincing rapport with the older Bruce Willis. He cuts right through the image consultant's own self-image.
Russ?
Yeah, kid.
I get what you do now. I get what I do. When I grow up for a living, I figured out how to explain.
Let me hear it.
You help people lie about who they really are, so that they can pretend to be someone else, right?
Yeah.
Disney's The Kid was directed by John Turteltaub, who made While You Were Sleeping, and it was written by Audrey Wells, who wrote The Truth About Cats and Dogs. And this movie has a lot of the same warmth and human comedy of those two good films. What's surprising, given the way the title emphasizes the trademark Disney, is that this isn't a kid's picture, but a general audience film, and a pretty good one, too, in which, of course, we know that Willis's cold heart is eventually going to thaw, but we enjoy the process because of the edge in his performance and the plucky character of that little boy.
Yeah, when is Bruce Willis going to get his due as an actor? He's terrific in there. And you mentioned Haley Joel Osment. That's 2 summers in a row now that Bruce Willis has gotten and worked with kids who have done terrific jobs. Spencer Breslin is fantastic here. He's not a little moppet just mugging for the cameras. He gives a wonderful performance. And you're right, I'm a little troubled by Disney's The Kid because it makes it sound like it's going to be like Son of Flubber or one of those G-rated movies from way back in the 60s.
I know.
This is so much more than that.
This is for everybody. This is for all audiences. And, you know,
it's wonderful.
You're
It
right
really
about Willis. I mean, we have this image of Willis that comes from the Die Hard pictures and some, Armageddon,
Right.
which was not my favorite film.
Yeah.
What we don't always remember is this is a complete actor. This guy can do drama.
And he has been
can
for
do
a long
comedy,
time.
and he is reliable. And in this movie, it's crucial because this movie could have gone way off the tracks,
No.
and it's just right on target.
No, he and the little boy carry this picture, and it's just terrific. I thought it was fantastic. All right, next up is the director's cut of Blood Simple, the 1985 crime thriller that marked the stunning debut of the Coen brothers, who have gone on to enrich our lives with such original efforts as Fargo and The Big Lebowski. Now, I love Blood Simple even more today than I did 15 years ago, and the improved sound and print quality reminded me of how each scene drips with rich detail. Now here John Getz visits the roadhouse owned by Dan Hedaya, who knows Getz has slept with his wife.
What's funny is that I had you two followed. Because if it's not you she's sleeping with, it's someone else. And what's really going to be funny is when she gives you that innocent look and says, I don't know what you're talking about, Ray. I ain't done anything funny.
Hedaya's wife is played by Frances McDormand, who's glad to be rid of her sewer rat of a husband, though she's pretty sure he's not going to let her go without a fight.
Her nuts out there. Do it outside, in nature.
You know, they should have cloned the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that year and given one each to Hedaya and to M. Emmett Walsh, who plays a seedy private detective.
It's in reference to that gentleman and my wife. The more I think about it, the more irritated I get.
Huh? Could you tell me what it is you want me to do, or is it a secret?
There's no joke.
You want me to kill?
Cohen's had a lot of fun playing with sound effects and with the visuals. In one famous tracking shot, the camera literally jumps over the prone figure of a passed-out drunk. But they never let all that stylistic trickery get in the way of a great film noir story about double-crossing and double-crossing, and how a lack of trust can blind you to who's dead and who's alive. Now, even though I knew where the story would go this time around, it only deepened my appreciation for the clever path we traveled to get there. Blood Simple is a small and sweaty masterpiece.
Boy, it sure is. And when it came out 15 years ago, we had no idea where it was going to go and no idea then who the Coen brothers were and who they were going to be. And this movie brought up the curtain on a really terrific career. And what I like best, seeing it again this time, is that everything that happens from necessity. Because, of course, the plot goes back and forth and double crossing, as you put it, and double reverses, and this is true and this isn't true and this isn't true and this is true and so forth. But necessary, not just manipulative. You can see the stages that the plot goes through to get you to every single amazing point.
Because, you think at first maybe we're just seeing some of these scenes because they're funny or clever or gimmicky, but all the pieces of the puzzle come together.
Yeah, okay, coming up later, Scary Movie, a spoof of slasher films. Coming up next, RuPaul and Kathy Moriarty in But I'm a Cheerleader. Natasha Lyonne plays Megan there, a high school pom-pom girl, in But I'm a Cheerleader, a raucous new comedy. Megan doesn't much like kissing her boyfriend, maybe because he uses his tongue like a roto-rooter, and she also likes Melissa Etheridge records, Georgia O'Keeffe pillow slips, and she's added tofu to her diet. Now, those are all fatal clues indicating that she has become a lesbian, and her family and friends stage an intervention and bring in a counselor named Mike who specializes in fighting homosexuality. He's played by RuPaul Charles.
I myself was once a gay. Now I'm an ex-gay, Megan. I work for a place called True Directions who help people like yourself learn to understand the reasons behind homosexual tendencies and how to heal them.
Megan is sent to a reprogramming camp where Kathy Moriarty is the director who lectures about the danger signals of lesbianism.
So when you see a woman in a tight skirt, and her long, beautiful legs, or perhaps she's in the bathroom, putting lipstick over her full lips, or maybe in the locker room, soaping her body, rubbing her breasts, you don't have any unnatural thought.
I don't think it's unnatural.
Aha!
Megan meets only one soulmate at the camp, a girl named Graham, played by Clea Duvall.
My stepmom called us in my room one day and sent me here.
Are you in love with her?
Does it matter?
But I'm a Cheerleader is a very funny movie and something a little more, a satire with real bite to it. Many of its targets are not that far off from real life, as the movie argues against the notion that homosexuality can be turned on or turned off or cured or reversed. The movie doesn't let its sexual politics, though, get in the way of the humor, and there are some funny moments involving Rock, the son of the camp director, who does a fetching little dance with a weed whacker. And I like Natasha Lyonne as Megan with her pouty lower lip as she stares incredulously at all of the stupid people in the world.
Well, you say this movie has bite. I thought it had all the bite of an old man who's lost his dentures. I didn't laugh at any of this stuff. I thought it was a trashy movie. I thought it was trashy-looking, cheap-looking. Kathy Morey looks terrible here. This idea of this camp and the way that they put these outfits on, you wear the blue and you wear the pink. I mean, it just sort of rolls in the stereotypes without really busting them.
Yeah, but Richard, that's the look of the movie. Trashy is the look of the movie. It's kind of a John Waters look.
Yeah,
I don't think that better production values would have changed anything. I think the fact that it all looks kind of tacky and hammered together is part of the charm.
And what did you find so funny about this? To me, it was like you could see the joke coming.
Well, I think there are going to be parts of this country where people really believe that you could send people to camps like this and they could get cured of homosexuality.
Maybe
and I think that whether you realize it or not, this movie is attacking targets that are more common. I mean, look at Boys Don't Cry if you think that people don't believe the way her parents believe.
I can't believe you're even mentioning a movie like Boys Don't Cry.
I saw them both on the same day.
I'm a cheerleader,
I saw them on the same day at the Toronto Film Festival, and I thought, boy, in a way, these are two sides of the same situation.
I thought this was just a dead comedy.
Coming up next, slasher flicks are played for laughs in Scary Movie.
Dead people?
This is awesome.
Carmen Electra takes one for the team in Scary Movie, directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans and starring a whole lot of actors who strained so hard for laughs, I'm surprised nobody was seriously injured during the making of this film. Now, even though Scream itself was a parody of slasher movies, and a smart one at that, Scary Movie tries to lampoon that now familiar franchise, as well as a whole lot of other films.
I could be anywhere. I like the wind, baby. Yeah. We're alive.
You're behind the couch.
What? How do you know that?
I can see your feet.
They had great school humor, but I laughed like a kid. Now, there's also a pretty funny riff here on I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I think we hit something.
I didn't see it. It came out of nowhere.
Oh my God, we hit a boat!
Where's the foot? Oh, no.
The body! Ben! We have to call the police.
No way. I ain't going to jail.
It's okay, I'm fine.
We'll get rid of the body.
The Matrix also gets the treatment as the heroine and the killer square off. I appreciate the sheer collective effort here. Wayans tackles everything from the Budweiser "What's Up, Guys" to Shakespeare in Love. And, the cast isn't afraid to look beyond ridiculous in one gross-out scene after another. But Scream did such a good job of winking at the audience in the first place that it's probably parody-proof. It's been 2 decades since we saw the original Airplane and Naked Gun franchises, which really pioneered this brand of humor, which by now have become as tired as any other cliché genre. For Scary Movie, it's a case of too much, too late.
I don't know, I have gotten kind of tired of this whole genre of spoof movies, and yet this one worked for me, and the last 3 or 4 have not really worked, but this one was funny, and it was funny in a subversive way, and I feel that it was a movie for real moviegoers, for people who really know what he's referring to and how he's referring to it, the little in-jokes and so forth.
Sure.
I liked it. I laughed. Now, the movies are critic-proof, basically, movies like this, because all you're talking about is a string of jokes. You can't talk about the performances, the characters, or anything else but the gags, but I laughed enough that I had a good time.
I thought at first, I go, this is going to be really clever and it's going to sustain its energy, but it didn't work for me.
Okay, next movie, and our next movie is Shower, a story from China that's mostly set inside a traditional bathhouse in an old part of Beijing. The owner has happily worked there for many years, and the business also provides a role for his retarded son. They play together like 2 young brothers, splashing each other with water and clowning around.
Sir!
The man's older son returns after several years, mistakenly thinking his father has died. And once he finds out the father is still alive, he keeps planning to leave, but somehow gets drawn into the laughter and camaraderie of the old guys at the bathhouse. There's human comedy among the regulars, including two who fanatically bet on their pet fighting cricket.
你说，你为他什么？我什么也没为啊。你坦白交代，你是不是为他蚂蚁卵了？没有，没有，没有，没有，他能那么厉害？
Shower is pretty traditional in his drama with few surprises. We kind of guessed that maybe the older son will renew his love for his father and his brother and fall under the charm of this traditional way of life where the customers have all known each other for years and seem to spend every waking moment getting soaped up and massaged. Meanwhile, the whole way of life is threatened because the neighborhood is being torn down, the victim of progress. The Shower is somewhat predictable. It nevertheless has a lot of quiet charm and gentle humor, and it grew on me, and I liked it.
I agree completely. You're right. I mean, you could have taken all these characters in the situations. It could be a bar in Chicago that's in a changing neighborhood, and you have the regulars there. But what I liked about this is I don't know anything about bathhouse culture and everything, but I really cared about all of these different characters. You talked about the little men who were betting on the crickets, and the one guy who's having problems in his marriage. You really cared about them a lot, and you wanted to hang out with these people at the bathhouse.
And the soloist who could only sing a solo meal in the shower.
I love that guy.
He wants to be in a neighborhood talent show, but he can't sing when the water isn't running. It was a nice film. Coming up next, my video pick this week is Elementary, My Dear Watson.
Our opponents have 2/3 of the puzzle. We have 1/3.
Well, what are you going to do, huh?
Try to deduce the message from the 1/3 that we have.
Roger Ebert in the Movies Video Pick of the Week is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
My video pick this week is a new box set entitled An Evening with Sherlock Holmes, although it would actually fill several evenings, since it includes 4 movies and a rare filmed interview with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of The Great Detective. All 4 movies feature Basil Rathbone, who became famous in the role. Nigel Bruce, of course, is Dr. Watson.
The one thing these unfortunate victims have in common that might give us a motive for these murders. There must be something.
Another Jack the Ripper, if you ask me, a homicidal maniac.
No, Watson, in the case of Jack the Ripper, there was one thing in common. His victims were all from one walk of life, living in the same section of the city. In this case, the murderer chooses his victims from all walks of life and from different sections of the city. No, my dear fellow, this is not the work of a homicidal maniac. It's something infinitely more sinister.
The interview with Conan Doyle is kind of historic. This was the first interview ever recorded on sound film in 1927.
On the question of my taking up this psychic matter, curiously enough, my first experiences in that direction were just about the time when Sherlock Holmes was being built up in my mind. That would be about the year 1886 and 1887. So nobody can say that I formed my opinions on psychic matters very hastily.
The package includes these titles: Sherlock Holmes and the Secret Weapon, The Woman in Green, Terror by Night, and Dressed to Kill. Missing are the more famous first 2 Holmes movies, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and The Hound of the Baskervilles, but it's nice to have these lesser but harder to find titles. Basil Rathbone and Arthur Conan Doyle himself may have grown tired of The Great Detective, but Hollywood never has. Now let's take another look at the new movies we reviewed on this week's show. 2 thumbs up for Disney's The Kid, starring Bruce Willis. It's a warm and human comedy about self-discovery. 2 more thumbs up for the director's cut of Blood Simple, the debut feature by the Coen brothers, now in re-release. It's terrific. We split on But I'm a Cheerleader. I enjoyed the humor and satire. Richard thought it was trashy and not funny. We split again over Scary Movie, the slasher send-up. I laughed a lot, but Richard thought it was tired and obvious. Finally, 2 thumbs up for Shower, the touching family drama from China and Bruce Willis in Disney's The Kid. That Disney's The Kid title is going to make people think it's for little kids.
Don't be
and
misled
it's not.
by that. It's for everybody.
Okay, remember you can hear our reviews, Richard and myself, at Ebert-movies.com and our print reviews at suntimes.com. Next week, more new movies, including the long-awaited X-Men, starring Patrick Stewart and Halle Berry, based on the Marvel comics. Also, a behind-the-scenes look at an American icon in the eyes of Tammy Faye.
So you've never done pictures without those eyelashes?
No, and I never will, because that's my trademark.
That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.